The rains begin and are slow to end. Another storm forms, slams the area with hurricane-force winds. We saw it this May. We've seen it before. Severe storms that flood neighborhoods or spin up tornadoes. The severity of these storms are being enhanced by the warming waters in the Gulf, and the temperatures are higher earlier than they've ever been. Not something you want to see during hurricane season.
Eye on the Gulf, Warming Waters is sponsored by Kroger, fresh for everyone, and Arc Generators and Electrical Services. Schedule now. Don't wait.
Earth's water is warming. This year, we're seeing higher temperatures earlier in the season than ever before, and it will only continue to warm through the summer. Why is this a concern to us? Hurricanes. Hello, I'm ABC13 Chief Meteorologist Travis Herzog. Warm waters invite storms to intensify and to do so rapidly. Imagine a tropical storm that grows into a Category 5 hurricane overnight. Think it can't happen? Well, it did last year.
Last year, Hurricane Otis became the storm we all feared, catching over 1 million people off guard in Acapulco, Mexico.
We went to the beach during sunset. We had dinner. It was a beautiful day.
But it was about to turn into a night of terror for Roxy Van Rooten, a TV meteorologist from El Paso. Just 24 hours before landfall, Tropical Storm Otis was predicted to remain a tropical storm. Instead, it erupted into a Category 5 hurricane over unusually warm waters. As Otis grew stronger, the reality sunk in that a Category 5 hurricane was just hours away.
We just kept hearing the rain intensify. Oh my God! Oh, ya salió el agua! At some point, you start to see water seep into the floor and to the walls, and that's when I could really feel the pressure, right? I was like, oh, this is getting very serious.
Then it became downright dangerous.
The window exploded, it cut my leg, so I didn't even feel it because it happened so fast. I started bleeding, and then so we all ran towards the closet, and ever since that moment, we stayed in the closet for 3 hours.
The friends held each other even tighter as the 165-mile-per-hour winds ravaged the outer walls, rocking the building back and forth.
That's when we all kind of gave each other a hug, and I was like, oh my God, like this building is gonna go down, and we're gonna go down with it. And that was really the moment that scared me the most. And I was trying to text my mom, I love you, but it didn't go through, and I just closed my eyes.
This whole wall came down right here. The glass right here shattered, even the ceiling outside.
This is where I was filming just a couple of hours ago.
Thankfully, they made it through that terrifying sleepless night, and at sunrise, they attempted to leave.
We set out all our clothes to dry, and we're just gonna go look for help, I guess.
I feel like a lot of people in Acapulco were very calm.
At 5, jamás pensó la gente que iba a ser tanta destrucción. Vamos a seguir adelante. Todos vamos a poner un granito y vamos a seguir a poner Acapulco lindo.
They kind of just started working and started cleaning up because I was in shock, and a lot of people just started cleaning right away, and they were just like, well, what can we do?
So how is Acapulco doing today, and what would an Otis-like storm do here along the upper Texas coastline? To get those answers, we came down here to Galveston to talk to Dr. Hal Needham, a hurricane storm surge researcher who recently visited Acapulco for his GeoTrek podcast.
You could tell that something really bad happened. Still, a lot of the high rises are just shredded to this day.
Signs of devastation remained everywhere, yet some hotels looked relatively untouched by Otis.
It just teaches us that how you build matters, and we can really build for anything if we consider the construction science and build for these upper level windstorms.
Otis claimed at least 52 lives and is Mexico's costliest hurricane on record, with an estimated price tag of $12 to $16 billion.
I think they learned in this case that every hurricane is different, and you have to be prepared for anything that Mother Nature can throw at you.
Which begs the question, could a storm like Otis hit Texas?
What Otis did, it's just hard to imagine something intensifying by, say, 90 miles an hour in just 15 hours. But even half of that rate of intensification, we could go from a tropical storm to a Cat 3 in just like 15 hours. So really the model suggests something like that could happen here.
When you think back to the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season, you might think it didn't really seem that bad, but it actually ranked 4th for most named storms in a year. Only one hurricane made landfall in the United States, but that one hurricane brought devastation and surprise with it.
This storm is worse than we've ever seen. My family has been here for many generations. We haven't seen a storm this bad ever.
Hurricane Idalia strengthened to a Category 4 hurricane before weakening to a Cat 3 right before making landfall in the Florida Big Bend region.
The National Hurricane Center expects storm surge to reach up to 16 feet. That level of storm surge is life-threatening.
It was also the 3rd strongest landfalling hurricane in that region. 12 people died, and there was an estimated $3.6 billion in damage.
The top of the roof just caved, slapped in on me and my 3 kids and my grandson.
Now, we know this hurricane was strong, but what made it so unique was the rapid intensification it underwent before making landfall. It went from a Category 1 hurricane early on August 29th to a Cat 4 by the morning of August 30th. That was a 55-mile-per-hour wind increase within a 24-hour period.
And as far as the water temperatures go, you know we've been talking about 2 to 4 degrees above average. That is a huge deal. It super fuels storms.
So how do you know when to evacuate for storms that can intensify so quickly? We get the plans from the experts and look into just how warm the Gulf waters could get this hurricane season when Eye on the Gulf Warming Waters returns. With Gulf waters being so warm and rapid intensification becoming more frequent, we wanted to know how our local officials would handle that here in Southeast Texas. For Galveston, this situation puts evacuation plans in a tighter time frame. It takes about 36 hours to fully evacuate the island.
We're encouraging them to go ahead and prepare for hurricane season. Have your to-go box of stuff ready to go. Have it just sitting in a corner. And if the evacuation's ordered, secure yourselves and your families and evacuate.
And this year in our hurricane tracking guide, we have a full page dedicated to evacuation routes so you can get where you need to go safely and efficiently.
We've been talking about quick intensifying storms for about 15 years. We saw it with Humberto. It quickly developed and made landfall in Galveston in less than 36 hours. So we have to be prepared that a storm can develop, be a low pressure system, and then quickly change from a tropical storm to a Category 3 or 4. We've seen this over the past few years. So for our posture, we're prepared, we understand. It's the public that needs to understand that when we ask for appropriate actions to protect you and your family, that we react accordingly. So preparedness is a 365-day activity for our office.
You can see what I'm looking at right now. For years, you've seen me out chasing tornadoes during the April-May tornado season. Produced a confirmed tornado about 10 miles to the south of us. My photographer and I captured this incredible storm just west of Oklahoma City on a high-risk tornado day 7 years ago. We get out here and we give you a first-hand look. And just this year, we captured a possible tornado touchdown just north of Rice, Texas. There it is right there.
My goodness,
wow.
Look at that.
There it is, folks. These storms are fascinating, but dangerous. I keep safety and distance in mind when hunting tornadoes. But did you know there are people who chase hurricanes too? Back in 2020, I was off work on a Sunday afternoon when I realized Category 1 Hurricane Hannah was close to making landfall along the South Texas coast. I immediately packed my bags and headed that way. The weak storm surge I encountered at the coast in Port Lavaca wasn't enough, so I rolled down Highway 35 to Corpus Christi. There I encountered tropical storm force winds and a bigger surge, but that wasn't enough. So I drove south to Padre Island, hoping to get into the eye. To show you where I am on the radar, the beach was closed, so I hunkered down on Highway 77 as the eye wall passed over. You see that blue circle there on the left? That's my location. It was very scary. I guesstimated the winds were gusting between 70 and 80 miles per hour. I remember thinking at the time that if there were storms any stronger, I wasn't going to chase them. And unfortunately, it looks like some storms may be stronger this season. This could be a very active hurricane season, possibly even hyperactive. Our partner AccuWeather is forecasting 20 to 25 named storms, which is way above the normal of 14. There were two main reasons for this prediction. We are shifting from an El Nino climate pattern to a La Nina pattern, and the Atlantic sea surface is unusually warm this year. I'll explain why this combination can make a very dangerous hurricane season when Eye on the Gulf, Warming Waters returns. For the last year and a half, we've been in something called an El Nino climate pattern. That's characterized by warm and wet conditions in the equatorial Pacific, and that leads to more wind shear in the Atlantic, and you typically get fewer hurricanes. What we're going to transition into is what's called a La Nina weather pattern. That's a cool and dry condition in the Pacific. That leads to less wind shear in the Atlantic and more storms. If we do transition into La Nina this summer, that means we can have a very active hurricane season. Climatologists predict that we will transition from an El Nino to a La Nina phase during this year's hurricane season. As far as sea surface temperatures go, not only have they been extremely warm as of late, they've been at record territory for more than a year. Water temps in the main development region in the Atlantic were at July levels in February. Warmer water means more storms will develop, and the storms that do pop up will probably be stronger.
Well, I came across it in the process of writing a textbook.
Retired physics professor Edward Wolf has authored several studies on the relationship between hurricane power and ocean temperatures.
And from my point of view, the hurricanes are quite tightly connected with that, according to this relationship, that the power of the hurricane goes like the temperature of the ocean minus this critical temperature.
You need 80-degree water temperatures to support a hurricane. Last year at this time at the Pleasure Pier, the water temperature was 77 degrees. This year, it's 81 degrees, a full 4 degrees warmer than last year at this time.
Oh, that's a huge amount. 3 to 4 degrees is a huge change. That would, double, triple the kind of damage that would be done.
I'm in the 1700 block of Ball Avenue in Galveston. Back during Hurricane Ike, the storm surge was about 5 feet tall on the street. But imagine if, due to warmer water temperatures, that storm surge was up to 6 feet. Instead of it coming to the top step of the 1892 Easter egg cottage, that salt water would actually be inside the house. And here at Tequila's restaurant on the Strand, instead of the watermark being here like it was with Ike, that water would cover the entire first floor. The threat is real. That's why we are taking steps to improve our forecasting ability.
While hurricane season lasts 6 months long, severe weather can happen on any day at any time in our area. May is a great example. You can have hurricane damage without a hurricane.
Early May, massive rainstorms flooded rivers, forcing people from their homes and businesses for days and for some, even weeks. In the middle of May, we were hit hard by straight-line winds that produced hurricane-force winds. Because this extreme weather can be deadly, you need accurate forecasts.
We've got some strong thunderstorms still moving across the area.
That's something we improved with our new exclusive ABC13 alert radar network developed with our friends at ClimaVision.
There are these low-level gaps in radar coverage that we are filling, not only in Texas, but across the country. And the benefits are that you have a much more cohesive view of what's happening with breaking weather, because now these areas that were previously blind spots or holes are now filled in nicely with these new radars and the observations that we're taking.
Radar blind spots occur because radar beams shoot in a straight line. Since the Earth is a sphere, the beam stays straight as the ground curves lower. Eventually, the beam is too high in the sky to give us the relevant information we need that is close to the ground. We added a radar southwest of Houston in Edna to fix that gap.
With each additional radar, the more cohesive the view.
Good says there's another key piece to this new radar, dual polarization, which means that the radar sends out energy in both the horizontal and vertical axis, which is important for tracking hail and tornadoes.
But in situations with tornadoes, when you have those on the ground and they're creating what's known as the debris cloud, that means they're kicking up debris from the ground up into the atmosphere, so we can actually discern what's naturally found in the atmosphere and what's not natural.
We just got in a brand new severe thunderstorm warning as we have a severe
Now, whether we're
thunderstorm
forecasting hurricanes, tornadoes, flash floods, or winter storms, the ABC13 Alert Radar Network acts as the eyes and ears for us, providing critical information for you. It's a real game changer and can be a true lifesaver.
This is the fourth one we lived through, but this one was worse than the others.
Southeast Texas has already experienced major flooding and hurricane-force winds this year.
All roar almost like a freight train going through the building as air rushed through at 130 miles an hour.
Add in memories of past hurricanes. You can understand why people worry about the hurricane season.
Through Sunday evening, we could see 15 to 20 inches of rain.
August 2017.
The flooding here, it rivals any flood that we've ever had.
Hurricane Harvey decimated our area, dropping trillions of gallons of water.
517 is impassable all the way to the Gulf Freeway.
Dickinson was one of the worst hit cities.
The water was in every square inch of this building. It made it all the way up to the organ. When you came in here, you saw floating pews.
A sight that flooded congregation members with emotion as much as the 4 feet of water did their church. The First United Methodist Church in Dickinson and surrounding neighborhoods suffered from extensive, life-threatening flooding during Harvey.
More than 50 inches of rain is totally unmanageable, even if you know it's coming.
Part of what makes weather anxiety so prevalent is that weather events are out of our control.
Dr. Miriam Wabi is the Director of Behavioral Health Education for Memorial Hermann. She says she notices an increase in anxiety-related patient care each year this time of year.
That sense of helplessness and loss of control triggers up some feelings in anybody. When you have that repeated feeling, of course, it's going to kind of have a lasting effect.
Which is why it's important to watch for signs of stress, especially in children. The signs might not jump out at first.
They'll probably say, I can't sleep, I have a stomach ache, I have a headache, I don't want to go to school, I don't want to be away from mom.
This is just a neighbor helping neighbors.
Community and connection can help prepare before and heal after. That's true for more than just your kids. It was true for the congregation at Dickinson First United Methodist.
Having that external extended family is really important, and not just in times of flood, but probably every time.
You need to look for those opportunities. There are opportunities for so many people, and opportunities that people don't take advantage of, to get involved in different things and to meet people who may indeed end up being your support group, and you might be their support group.
Dr. Wabi mentioned that whatever you do to manage stress in our daily lives, like exercising, journaling, or speaking to a trusted adult or therapist, that's a good place to start if you begin to feel anxious about an upcoming weather event. Beyond that, there are many ways to receive the help you need, especially locally here in Southeast Texas. These are just a couple of the examples she mentioned, and also to get that connection, something like the Nextdoor app could be really helpful.
This hurricane season is predicted to be more active with more storms, including more major hurricanes. But what if we could predict exactly how many major storms there will be and exactly when and where they would make landfall? We're nowhere close to that ability now, but artificial intelligence is already helping improve forecasts. We look at how AI can shape the future of forecasts when Eye on the Gulf Warming Waters returns.
Eye on the Gulf Warming Waters is sponsored by Kroger, fresh for everyone, and Arc Generators and Electrical Services. Schedule now. Don't wait.
Artificial intelligence is changing the world as we know it. Self-driving cars, facial recognition, digital assistants. But what about the weather?
Specifically, how can we harness the power of AI to make our hurricane forecasts more accurate? According to Dr. Leonard Boussu, professor and AI expert, it's already happening.
So the power of AI comes from its computational efficiency. If you have tons of data, our brain is quickly limited about how much you can absorb. just because it's too much, too many numbers, too many forms.
But where we are limited, AI is unlimited. It can absorb an infinite amount of data, and with each data set, it actually becomes more powerful.
If you give tons of weather data, the model is going to understand how winds behave, how the rain will behave in this situation, how a tropical storm may form. So the beauty of those AI models is that they take a long time to train, but once they're trained, you can just execute any new forecast extremely fast.
And while the strengths of AI are obvious, it does have its weaknesses as well. AI's biggest weakness is that it's considered a black box model. That means we don't know why or how an AI model comes up with its eventual forecast. We can't see under the hood to learn how it processes the information. We just get the end result.
So maybe you know that your AI is very good, but do you trust this model? You can't really know. AI is going to learn directly from data, the physics, but it does not know what is possible or not possible. It just understands statistically what can happen in terms of weather. But
so for outlier events, in that case, if a storm that's been stronger than any storm ever, AI would not be able to understand that because it's never seen it before.
Absolutely. So that's part of it, is that because AI does not know the physics, it cannot engineer or predict something it has never seen before.
And if you're wondering how many years before you might see an AI forecast, turns out you already can.
If you have an Android phone and you use the weather from Google, they use AI to do this. So I believe at some point in the future, AI will complement. It won't replace all the current methods. It's an opportunity to have an additional way of predicting the weather.
So it will become an increasingly important tool in our forecasting tool belt in the years to come, and will most likely surpass our traditional forecast tools in the future. An improved forecast won't make hurricanes any less dangerous, but it can help us gain precious lead time to prepare when a storm is coming.
As hurricane season moves forward, we will keep our eyes on the Gulf for you. A more active season and the warmer ocean temperatures earlier than ever before are a dangerous combination. We will have all the hurricane information you need on ABC13.com and keep you posted on the latest activity threatening the Gulf of Mexico wherever you watch ABC 13. For the entire team, I'm Travis Herzog. Stay safe and be prepared this season.